Listen to this. You can read every book, watch all the videos, and repeat to yourself 1,000 times that you love yourself. But if you don't understand this one thing, the love you seek will always remain out of reach. Today, I'm not here to give you theory. I'm here to give you the key, something no one has ever told you before, a truth that Carl Jung discovered and that will forever change the way you relate to yourself and others. Are you ready to uncover it? If you're watching this, it's because something inside you already knows there's more. This isn't just about accepting your shadow or balancing your energies. It's about taking those concepts and applying them in a way that transforms your life. And by the end of this video, you won't just have a deeper understanding of why you've struggled to feel loved. You'll walk away with a clear and practical strategy to revolutionize your relationship with yourself and, as a result, with others. This isn't about theory. It's about action. Your relationships are not random. What attracts you or repels you in others is a direct reflection of what remains unresolved within you. Think about the last person who made you feel something intense, whether it was love or frustration. That person is more than just a passing figure in your life. They are a mirror, revealing something deeply buried within you. Perhaps you find yourself drawn to people who make you feel insecure, or maybe you constantly feel frustrated by those who exhibit traits that you reject in yourself. Today, you're going to learn how to use that mirror to uncover the parts of yourself that are crying out for attention and healing. Because until you do, you will continue searching for love in all the wrong places. The real question isn't, why does this person behave this way? The real question is, what is this person showing me about myself? This concept, the relational mirror, is far deeper than it appears at first glance. When someone triggers a strong emotional reaction in you, you're experiencing a projection of your own shadow. Look at the patterns in your relationships. Do you find yourself repeatedly drawn to people with similar characteristics? Or do you find yourself constantly avoiding certain types of people? Both reactions are equally revealing. Attraction and repulsion are two sides of the same coin. They both indicate something crucial about your inner world. When you feel deeply drawn to someone, ask yourself, what qualities do I admire in this person? Could it be that these are qualities I haven't fully developed or expressed in myself? Perhaps you admire someone's freedom and spontaneity because you have lived a life that feels too structured and controlled. Similarly, when someone irritates you intensely, ask yourself, what exactly bothers me about this person? Could it be that I possess that same trait, but have denied or repressed it in myself? Maybe arrogance in others triggers you because deep down, you struggle with your own superiority complex, one that you are ashamed to acknowledge. This kind of self-awareness is transformative, but it requires brutal honesty. You must be willing to see the parts of yourself that you've kept hidden, even from yourself. And it's in this recognition that true healing begins. The most difficult relationships in your life are often your greatest teachers. That person who constantly irritates you. They might just be the key to unlocking parts of yourself that need attention. It's no coincidence that certain people appear in your life. They are karmic messengers, showing you the way to your own integration. Remember, just as others reflect parts of you, you also act as a mirror for them. When you understand this, you develop both compassion and responsibility in your interactions. You begin to see that when someone reacts negatively toward you, they aren't necessarily responding to you. They are responding to the reflection of themselves that they see in you. Instead of reacting defensively, you can respond with understanding. The purpose of this work isn't just to identify patterns, it's to transform them. Once you recognize what part of yourself is being reflected in a difficult relationship, you can begin to heal that part. And as you consciously integrate those rejected or underdeveloped aspects of yourself, your relationships will start to change, naturally and effortlessly. This process of integration doesn't happen overnight. Don't expect immediate results. Observe your emotional reactions as if you were a scientist studying a fascinating subject, without judgment, only with genuine curiosity. Over time, you'll notice that the people who once triggered intense reactions in you will no longer have the same power over your emotions. The healthier and more balanced relationships you seek will begin to appear. Instead of attracting people who reflect your wounds, you'll start attracting those who reflect the healed, whole version of yourself. You'll no longer seek in others what you lack within yourself. Instead, you'll create connections based on shared wholeness rather than emotional dependency. True love is only possible after this journey of self-discovery. When you love from a place of wholeness rather than lack, your relationships become spaces for mutual growth rather than sources of emotional neediness. You no longer need someone else to fill your emptiness. You are complete within yourself. And here's the ultimate truth. The part of yourself that you reject is the same part that is sabotaging your relationships. You cannot fully love if you do not accept all of who you are. Think about the things you don't like about yourself, the things you try to hide. That is your shadow. And until you integrate it, you will continue projecting your insecurities onto others. For example, if arrogance in others bothers you, it's likely that a part of you fears being perceived as arrogant. Or if you're drawn to people who make you feel small, it's because deep down, a part of you doesn't feel big enough. Here, you will discover how to integrate your shadow, not to become perfect, but to become whole. Because only when you accept everything that you are, can you love and be loved authentically. Your shadow isn't just the negative aspects of yourself. It also includes your unrecognized gifts and talents. When you reject parts of yourself, you fragment your being, creating an invisible barrier that prevents the deep connection you long for. But when you embrace all that you are, you stop seeking love as something external. You become love. And from that place, true connection becomes inevitable. This fragmentation leads us to seek in others what we cannot accept in ourselves. Every time you harshly judge someone, you are facing a mirror. That quality that irritates you so much in another person is merely a reflection of something within you that remains unacknowledged. Pay close attention to your most intense reactions. Within them, you will find the most valuable clues about yourself. Perhaps you despise vulnerability in others because you fear your own fragility, or maybe you criticize excessive ambition because you have not allowed yourself to recognize your own desires for success and recognition. Your shadow also manifests in your romantic attractions. We are drawn to people who freely express what we have repressed. If you feel irresistibly attracted to dominant personalities, ask yourself, is there a part of me that longs to express more power and authority? If you constantly seek partners who need to be rescued, you may be projecting your own need for care and attention. Relationship sabotage occurs subtly but persistently. Perhaps you fear abandonment, so you push people away before they have the chance to leave you. Or maybe you fear being controlled, So you resist any suggestion from your partner, even when it is reasonable. These patterns are not random. They are defense mechanisms of your unintegrated shadow. Integrating your shadow requires courage. The first step is to be willing to see it without self-judgment. Whenever you feel an intense aversion to something in another person, ask yourself, where does this exist within me? Not to blame yourself, but to know yourself more deeply. Integration also involves expressing repressed aspects of yourself in safe environments. If you have suppressed your creativity, find spaces where you can freely express it. If you have denied your need for connection, allow yourself to be vulnerable with trusted people. Over time, these rejected parts will transform from hidden saboteurs into sources of strength. A powerful exercise is to write a letter to your shadow. Acknowledge its existence, express gratitude for its attempts to protect you, and share your intention to integrate it with compassion. This internal dialogue can be the beginning of a profound reconciliation with yourself. The beautiful paradox is that by accepting your darkest aspects, you become more luminous. By embracing your imperfections, you become more authentic. And it is this authenticity that opens the doors to genuine connections. The deepest and most fulfilling relationships emerge when two people show up whole, with both light and shadow integrated. You no longer need a partner to complete what you lack. You come as a complete being. You no longer project your fears and insecurities onto others because you have embraced them as part of yourself. Relationships are not just about feeling good. They are about growth. Every conflict, every action, every disappointment is an opportunity to understand yourself better. In this session, you will learn to see love not as an end, but as a journey of self-discovery. Until you understand this, you will continue to repeat the same mistakes. For example, if you always end up in relationships where you feel abandoned, it is because there is an abandonment wound that you need to heal. If you constantly seek people who make you feel secure, it is because there is a part of you that does not feel safe. Here, you will discover how to use love as a tool for growth, not as a goal that frustrates you. When we view love only as a source of pleasure and comfort, we lose its deeper transformative power. Relationships are life's most intense classroom, the clearest mirror of our inner world. Every person who enters your life comes with a specific lesson, and until you learn that lesson, the pattern will repeat itself. The faces may change, but the essence remains the same. Relational patterns are not accidents. If you examine your romantic history, you will find recurring themes that connect seemingly different experiences. Perhaps you always end up with emotionally distant people, or maybe you consistently attract those who need to be saved. These patterns are invitations for self-reflection, signals pointing to internal wounds that need to be acknowledged. Attachment theory teaches us that our earliest bonds shape patterns that repeat in adulthood. If, as a child, you learned that love is inconsistent, you will unconsciously seek inconsistency in your adult relationships because it feels familiar, even if painful. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward transforming them. The true purpose of romantic love is not to make you happy, though happiness can be a beautiful side effect. Its purpose is to reveal aspects of yourself that would otherwise remain hidden. It is in intimacy that your deepest fears, defense mechanisms, and unexpressed desires come to light. Love is not just about finding the right person. It is about becoming the person who can love deeply, fearlessly, and consciously. When conflict arises in your relationship, the most valuable question is not who is right, but rather, what is this situation teaching me about myself? Perhaps your disproportionate irritation over a simple comment reveals a deep-seated insecurity. Maybe your constant need for control is actually masking a deep fear of abandonment. These insights, while often uncomfortable, are treasures for those seeking personal growth. Attractions, too, serve as powerful teachers. They draw you toward aspects of yourself that you have yet to fully integrate. If you deeply admire someone's sense of freedom, it may be because you long for greater freedom in your own life. If you find yourself captivated by another person's creativity, it could be a sign that there is an artist within you, waiting to be expressed. Your most intense attractions are not random. They are maps guiding you toward unrealized aspects of your own potential. Heartbreak, while painful, presents an extraordinary opportunity for growth. When a relationship ends, you have two choices. You can blame the other person and continue repeating the same patterns, or you can turn inward and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? The difference between these two responses determines whether you become bitter or wiser from the experience. Mature love does not seek perfection in a partner. It seeks mutual growth. A relationship rooted in this mindset is not only about individual happiness, but about shared evolution. In this kind of relationship, every challenge is embraced as an opportunity to expand, to break limitations, and to heal together. Paradoxically, when you embrace love as a tool for personal growth, happiness comes more deeply and more sustainably. You no longer depend on perfect circumstances or an ideal partner to feel fulfilled. Instead, you find satisfaction in the process of evolving, of knowing yourself more intimately through the mirror that your partner provides. The shift begins when you stop saying things like, I always end up with the same kind of partner, and instead start asking, why do I keep choosing this kind of partner? This change in perspective restores your power. You are no longer a victim of fate or the actions of others. You become the conscious creator of your relational experiences. Embracing love as a path to self-growth requires courage. You must be willing to confront uncomfortable truths, to question deeply ingrained beliefs, and to let go of identities that no longer serve you. But the reward is immense. More authentic relationships, deeper self-awareness, and the ability to love from a place of freedom rather than from a place of need. Why do you always find yourself in the same kinds of relationships? The answer lies within your subconscious. The patterns you repeat over and over again are not mere coincidences. They are signals that there is something within you that needs healing. For instance, if you consistently feel drawn to people who make you suffer, it is likely that there is an unresolved emotional wound seeking attention. If you always seek validation from your partners, it may be because a part of you feels unworthy or unseen. Today, you will discover how to identify these patterns and break the cycle so you can create healthier, more conscious connections. Because until you do, you will continue attracting relationships that leave you feeling unfulfilled. Toxic relationship patterns are like invisible cycles that repeat with mathematical precision in your life. You may change partners, but the underlying dynamic remains the same. This phenomenon is not a curse, nor is it bad luck. It is the result of deeply rooted subconscious programming that influences your choices without you even realizing it. These subconscious patterns are often formed in childhood when you first learned what love meant and how relationships worked. If you grew up in an environment where love was conditional upon performance, you may now find yourself constantly seeking approval in your adult relationships. If affection in your past was often accompanied by criticism, you might feel strangely comfortable in relationships where conflict is present. The famous phrase, "What is familiar feels safe," explains why we unconsciously repeat unhealthy relationship patterns. Your brain is wired to seek the known, even when the known is painful. This is why many people leave one toxic relationship only to find themselves in another eerily similar one. The first step in breaking these patterns is developing self-awareness. Observe your relationship history as if you were watching a movie. What themes keep repeating? Do you always end up feeling abandoned? Are you drawn to emotionally unavailable people? Do you tend to lose your sense of identity in relationships? These repetitions are not coincidences. They are clues pointing to specific emotional wounds. Behind every toxic pattern lies a limiting belief. If you constantly attract people who betray you, it is likely that deep inside you hold the belief that you do not deserve loyalty. If you always find yourself in relationships where you feel controlled, you may unconsciously believe that you are not capable of directing your own life. These beliefs act like invisible magnets, drawing experiences that confirm them. Neuroscience teaches us that these patterns are not merely psychological, they are also neurological. Through repetition, you have created strong neural connections. Breaking these circuits requires constant awareness and the deliberate creation of new experiences that contradict your habitual patterns. A powerful exercise is identifying your emotional triggers, those specific situations that elicit disproportionate reactions. Perhaps a simple delay from your partner triggers an intense fear of abandonment, or maybe a casual comment about your appearance activates a deep insecurity. These triggers are windows into your core wounds. Healing begins when you take responsibility for your patterns. This does not mean blaming yourself, but rather acknowledging your role in the creation and maintenance of these cycles. As long as you see yourself as a victim of circumstances or of others, you will remain trapped in repetition. The power to change only arises when you assume responsibility. Breaking patterns requires reconnecting with your body. Relational addictions operate similarly to other addictions. There are somatic signals that precede compulsive behaviors. Learn to recognize how attraction to toxicity feels in your body. There is an intense excitement, a false sense of security, a comforting familiarity. This recognition gives you the opportunity to consciously choose instead of reacting automatically. A fundamental step is setting clear boundaries, both with others and with yourself. If you know you tend to lose your identity in relationships, create rituals that maintain your connection with yourself. If you are drawn to people with narcissistic traits, define clearly what behaviors you will not tolerate. Boundaries are acts of self-love that interrupt patterns of self-sabotage. Real transformation happens when you dare to choose the new, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. If you have always been drawn to drama and intensity, a calm and stable relationship may initially seem boring. This discomfort is normal. You are creating new neural circuits, new ways of experiencing connection. Remember that breaking patterns is not a one-time event, but a continuous process. There will be moments of regression, temptations to return to what is familiar. Each time you recognize the pattern and choose differently, you strengthen your new path. Neuroplasticity is on your side. With each new choice, You literally rewire your brain. The ultimate goal is not relational perfection, but rather the awareness that allows you to choose freely. When you are no longer at the mercy of unconscious programming, you can create relationships that reflect who you are now, not the wounds of your past. You can love, not from lack or compulsion, but from wholeness and freedom. Authentic love is not something you find, it is something you create. When you love yourself unconditionally, love stops being something you seek and becomes something you are. This is the shift that changes everything, because until you understand this, you will keep searching outside for what can only be found within. Love is not something you give or receive. It is something you are. And when you live from that place, your relationships stop being a source of suffering and become an expression of who you are. Because love is not a destination, it is a journey. We have been raised under the premise that love is something external, a force that finds us if we are lucky enough. This romantic narrative, while beautiful, places us in a position of passivity and dependence. We wait to be chosen, to be seen, to be loved. But this perspective reverses the true nature of love. Authentic love emerges from within you like a spring, not as something you must extract from another person. When you depend on external sources to experience love, you create a pattern of perpetual lack. Like a vessel with holes, you will never be able to fill yourself. Love that comes from outside is always temporary, conditional, and limited by another human's capacity. The paradigm shift happens when you recognize that you are the primary source of your love experience. You do not need permission to love yourself. You do not need qualifications or credentials. Self-love is not a reward you earn for being enough. It is your birthright, your natural state. When you remove the barriers you have built against yourself, the practice of unconditional self-love becomes revolutionary in a world that has taught you to value yourself based on your productivity, appearance, or achievements. It means honoring yourself when you fail just as much as when you succeed. It means speaking to yourself with the same compassion you would offer a dear friend. It means recognizing your intrinsic worth, independent of any external validation. As you cultivate this loving relationship with yourself, a transformation occurs in your external relationships. You no longer approach others from a place of need or emptiness, but from wholeness. You no longer seek in others what you lack. Instead, you generously offer what you already have in abundance. The beautiful irony is that when you stop desperately needing love, you become more capable of experiencing it deeply. Your relationships then become spaces of expansion, not completion. You do not seek someone to make you happy. You share the happiness you have already cultivated. You do not expect another to heal your wounds, though you may grow alongside them. You do not depend on someone else to feel valuable, though you celebrate the value they see in you. This shift transforms the very nature of your attractions. When you operate from lack, you attract people who mirror your unhealed wounds. When you operate from wholeness, you attract people who reflect your integrity, who resonate with your frequency of self-love. It is the difference between an attraction based on addiction and an attraction based on affinity. The practice of self-love is not narcissism. In fact, it is its opposite. Narcissism arises from deep insecurity, from an inner void that seeks constant validation. Authentic self-love comes from recognizing and honoring your complete humanity. It allows you to see others with greater clarity and compassion because you no longer project, your unmet needs onto them. A transformative exercise is practicing conscious self-compassion. When difficult emotions arise, fear, sadness, anger, shame, instead of judging or suppressing them, embrace them as part of your humanity, not as flaws to be eradicated. This radical acceptance changes your relationship with your internal experience, and by extension, with everything external. Remember, love is not a goal you reach, but a daily practice. There will be days when loving yourself feels more difficult. Days when old voices of self-criticism resurface. Do not be discouraged. Every moment of awareness is an opportunity to choose love again. Every time you reconcile with yourself after a moment of disconnection, you strengthen your capacity for authentic love. The greatest paradox is that when you stop seeking love as something you lack, you discover it has always been there, like a fish, desperately searching for the ocean while swimming in it. You have been immersed in love all along. Your task is not to find it, but to recognize it, to allow it, to express it, first toward yourself, and then, naturally, toward everything around you. This is the secret that mystics and sages have shared throughout the ages. Love is not something you do, it is something you are. And when you live from that truth, every relationship, every encounter, every moment becomes an expression of that loving essence that is your deepest nature. Love is not a prize given for being enough. It is a state that arises when you fully accept yourself, with your light and your shadows. No one will love you as deeply as you can love yourself, and that is the key. When you understand this, love stops being a search and becomes an expression of who you are. If this message resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to continue exploring how to transform your life from within, subscribe and activate the notification bell. Remember, love is not something you find. It is something you build, and that journey begins today. Thank you for joining me on this journey, and I will see you in the next video. Until next time.